Florence is one of those cities that doesn't just steal your heart, it completely rewires how you see travel. From secret wine windows to rooftop sunsets to world famous art and the best sandwiches you'll ever eat, Florence is like a living museum where every corner has a story. If you're planning your first trip here, or even if you've been before, you'll want to stick around because we're breaking down the top 15 things you need to do in Florence, Italy. And I guarantee there are a few things on this list you've never heard of before. Before we dive in, we're Giselle and Steven, also known as the Lover's Passport, and we're on a mission to bring you a new bucket list adventure every single week of this year, and we cannot wait to dive into this video. Florence was the first international trip that I had ever been on, and it is what made me fall in love with travel. And I cannot wait to show you some of my favorite things. With that, let's dive into the video. One of the first things you need to do when you're in Florence is visit one of the famous wine windows. These are located all over the city. All you have to do is go on Google Maps and type in wine window and you'll be able to find a variety. Some of them are more expensive, some of them are cheaper, some of them look like they're more medieval and older, some look very fresh and new and are just little cutouts in glass, but you'll find a wide variety of the wine windows here in Florence. These actually date back to the 1600s where nobles sold wine straight from their cellars to avoid taxes and the plague. We enjoyed quite a few of them and you definitely have to add them when you're in Florence.
Number 2 is you have to grab a drink at a rooftop bar with amazing views of the Duomo. We went over to the View on Art rooftop bar. This was just a spot we found on TikTok actually, and we went up there for golden hour and it was absolutely stunning. It had a fantastic view of the Duomo. The drinks were all right. This is definitely one of those places that you're going for the location more than the quality of drinks. We had one of the more like fruity berry cocktails and it was kind of mid. I would say you're safe with some wine, but it's a gorgeous spot just to enjoy a nice little sunset or some time during golden hour next to the Duomo. We actually just walked up. We did not have a reservation, but we did get there a little earlier than golden hour. So I would say make sure to get there early if you want a spot. There are some other really good rooftop bars around Florence with views of the Duomo. Once again, they're probably not going to be the most amazing drinks you've ever had, but they're great for the vibes. So definitely recommend checking one out.
Next up, you have to walk across the Ponte Vecchio. This is located right on the river that runs through Florence and it is beautiful. My favorite time to walk around it is during the morning when you get this beautiful light and it's quiet out in the town, or during sunset when everyone's out exploring. There's a lot of really cool history here. This is actually Florence's oldest bridge and it survived the World War II bombings and is lined with beautiful jewelry shops and has a ton of history. This is actually where the old oligarchs used to go back and forth to avoid the crowds when they had to go back and forth to their mansions.
Number 4, you have to check out the Uffizi Gallery. This is honestly a very, very impressive museum. It's one of the most important art museums in the whole world. There are some really well-renowned pieces here. You'll see Botticelli's Birth of Venus and works by Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, and Raphael. I would say you need at least 2 to 3 hours here, but we would 100% recommend booking your tickets in advance. I will put the QR code over here for you so you guys can get your tickets because it was all timed entry and we did buy it online in advance. Now, while we're on the topic of museums, if you have extra time and want to check out Michelangelo's David in person, then you need to check out the Galleria dell'Accademia di Firenze. This is where the famous David is housed and it is incredible. If I had to choose, I would actually choose the Uffizi over the David if you had only time for one.
One of the next things you have to do, and is one of my personal favorites, is going to check out the Duomo during sunrise. This is when you can see it with the crowd almost non-existent. Anytime after 8 a.m., it starts to get busy there. You'll see the artists start to set up next to it and the town will start to wake up. And then another time to visit is during sunset. But once again, it will be very busy. So if you want those beautiful Instagram famous photos, you definitely want to go during the morning.
At number 6, if you're already visiting the Duomo, you have to do the additional add-on to climb the bell tower.
All right, we're going up. We are doing the stairs up the bell tower. The Duomo. They said there's around 400 plus stairs to go up. Another thing to remember, do not bring a backpack. There was someone that struggling to come in because they didn't have a simple sling like this, so just a reminder.
This is one of the coolest things I think we did in this area. We went up all 414 steps and got to see all of Florence from this beautiful panoramic area, as well as almost like an aerial view of the Duomo's dome. So this was a really cool experience. I would recommend getting there as early as possible because it did get really hot in the summertime, and the narrow pathways to get up the staircases. So if you're doing it at a peak time in the middle of the day, I imagine there's a lot of like foot traffic, and I know they regulate tickets due to that reason because they are super small passageways. So you do need to buy tickets in advance. Once again, I'll put the QR code right over here for you, as well as a link in the description. We did it at the earliest time possible, and I'm so happy we did to avoid getting hot. At the top, we were kind of shook to see like there was a fence. So if you're looking for an Instagram versus reality of the actual situation there, you can get some gorgeous views, but it is a little fenced off, so it's hard to shoot pictures up there with a camera, but you'll do just fine with your phone.
The next thing you have to do is grab an affogato from Vivoli. This place blew our minds. We had a few affogatos around the cities at the different gelateria shops and everything, but this one stood out. They lined the surface of the cup with cream or pistachios. We tried both of them, and honestly, the pistachio one is the one you need to order.
Get the pistachio. It's better.
It took us about 30 minutes from getting in line to finishing the affogato. There's 2 lines.
At number 8, we have take a little day trip or half day trip from Florence to go and have a wine tasting experience in the Tuscany vineyards. Florence is truly the gateway to Chianti wine country, and with a quick bus or car ride, you'll get into rolling vineyards, castles, and amazing wine tastings. All you really need is a half day to a full day. I would recommend doing 1 or 2 wineries at the minimum if you're staying in Florence and just want to get a little piece of the pie of all the amazing tastings that Tuscany has to offer. I personally loved visiting wineries at castles in Tuscany. I think that's kind of a niche thing. 100%. I liked the castles. I would recommend the castles. They're super fun. This region is known a lot for their Vermentinos for white wine, as well as their Chianti Classicos, which were some of our favorites. We came back with a ton of bottles, and it's super affordable out here. Whereas if you're used to paying wine prices in the US for like California wine, like Napa, you're gonna have a real happy wallet buying wine over in Italy.
The next part you need to visit is Piazza della Signoria. This spot is beautiful because it's right in the downtown area. It's a great spot for people watching, relaxing midday. It's right next to our favorite gelateria in all of Florence, and it is lined with beautiful and delicious food spots. It's also lined with statues, including a replica of Michelangelo's David, and it's an open air sculpture gallery, so it is so beautiful to visit.
At number 10, we have exploring the Pitti Palace and the Boboli Gardens. This was the Medici family's Renaissance palace, and it's filled with art, leading out into sprawling gardens overlooking all of Florence. It's a great escape from the busy city center, and the gardens are absolutely stunning. Now, just for the gardens alone, I would recommend having a minimum of 2 hours. We actually only had time to explore the gardens for 1 hour, but you could definitely do the highlights in there where you're going to see some fountains and just some beautiful greenery. That being said, a lot of it is uphill, so make sure you're wearing comfy walking shoes. You bring some fans, especially if you're visiting in summer when it's hot, and then go cool off at the other exhibits inside of the palace.
The next thing is something you cannot visit Florence and not do. You need to go and watch sunset from the Piazza de Michelangelo. It overlooks the entire city, where you can see the Duomo, you can see all of the beautiful towers, you can see the Ponte Vecchio and the beautiful sun reflecting off the water. It is a sight to see, and you will be up there with hundreds and hundreds of other people. So quick little warning, make sure if you go up there, you protect yourself, hide your valuables, make sure you bring something that is comfortable because there will be a lot of people. And if you really want to enjoy it, make sure to grab a bottle of wine and bring it up with you. That's exactly what we did, and we relaxed and enjoyed the beautiful view. It's my favorite spot in Florence.
At number 12, we have visiting the Basilica of Santa Croce. This is known as the Temple of the Italian Glories, and this church is the resting place of Michelangelo, Galileo, and Machiavelli. You'll need about 1 to 2 hours here if you want enough time to explore, but if you're really into art and history, then this is definitely going to be a spot in Florence that you want to check out.
The next thing you need to do is grab a sandwich from Al Antico Vinaya. This is one of the most famous sandwich shops in the entire world. and the bread and the Tuscan cured meat are legendary. We went here, and I will warn you, the line can be insane. Anywhere between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m., you might have to wait upwards of 30 minutes here. We decided to go right around 3 or 4 p.m., and we only had to wait around 5 minutes to get our sandwich. That being said, we did hear from some taxi drivers that it is a little overhyped, and I will say they stuff it with so much meat, and the bread is a little hard to where it can scrape your mouth. It is still delicious. It honestly was not my favorite thing, but you have to go and make your own decision. We'll put another one of our favorite sandwich shops down below just in case you don't want to wait in the long line.
And at number 14, you have to try taking a cooking class while you're in Florence. We took a couple of cooking classes during our time in Tuscany and Florence, and we absolutely loved it. There are tons of different options, but Florence is all about hands-on food culture. And learning to roll fresh pasta from scratch is an experience you'll never forget. Plus, you'll get to eat your masterpiece and get a recipe for your time back home. We did 2 different classes, one focusing just on tagliatelle bolognese, and then we did a cooking class focusing on tagliatelle with just a regular ragu sauce and also a spinach and ricotta ravioli with some tiramisu. Oh, so good. I definitely recommend it. Food's one of the best ways to get immersed in another culture. So while you're in Florence, you gotta take a pasta making class.
The last thing you need to do in Florence is try the Florentine flavor of gelato. Did you know that Florence actually invented gelato? And you need to try the crema florentina flavor. It's a rich custard with orange zest and vanilla, and it's a must try if you're a foodie. I'm not gonna lie, we tried it and it was so good. We'll drop the exact location for the spot that is known for having the best one in all of Florence down below in the description. Last but not least, we wanna recommend how long we would recommend staying in Florence. We thought 2 to 3 days was the maximum amount of time that you need to stay there in order to see and really feel the city. We were there for around 5 days total by the end of our visit, and we felt like it might have been a little bit too long, but you definitely don't wanna only spend 1 to 2 days in. It is a beautiful city. There's so much to explore, and I cannot wait for you to experience Florence for the first time. And that is it for our top 15 things to do in Florence. Like I said, this is one of my favorite cities in the entire world. I hope you really enjoy it. And if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more bucket list travel from around the world, make sure to hit that like and subscribe, and we cannot wait to see you next week with another adventure.